Dajihao Nihama. I just recorded for an hour, and then of course the freaking file corrupted. That's great. Um, this song or not song. This video is about my review of The Boys of Dungeon Lane. My immediate thoughts, because I literally just listened to it, and I was gonna upload like a blind reaction, but the footage does not exist. Which is fine because it was mainly just me like hooting and hollering and stuff. And I wrote down my thoughts as I was listening to it, so I do have stuff to reference back to. So, Boys of Dungeon Lane came out May 29th. And listen, I'd be wearing my Paul McCartney shirt because listen, I saw him in person. He like twerked in my general direction. You are welcome. But I just came back from Urban Outfitters and this was $40. So please say, Aristide, your top is so cute. It was a wise financial decision for you to spend $40 on it, and no, you don't have to worry about your credit card debt. Please tell me that. Please comment that down below. All right. So, the boys of Dungeon Lane. This video or this album was obviously like about him. It was about introspection on his past. That was the general consensus. But while I was listening to it, I was mainly listening to his vocals and the instrumentals and the whole like mix of the whole album. I wasn't really paying attention too much to the writing or like the thematic cohesiveness of the album. I was literally just listening to the actual music. Now, what do I think of this album as a whole? It's not a hit. There aren't really a ton of hits on it. People were kind of pushing Days to Be Left Behind. I mean, we're going to have to see how it performs over time. But this is an album like gonna leave a lasting legacy on the music industry. No. Is it bad? No, it's not a bad album at all. And yes, I'm literally criticizing like the most freaking famous musician who influenced like all of music. Yeah, I'm criticizing him. You are welcome. So yeah, let's just go down the track list, start to finish. And I'll talk about like some standouts, what I liked, what I didn't like, this and that. So As You Lie There, and I obviously encourage you all to listen to this album in your own time as well. As You Lie There, I thought this was actually a really strong opener. This was a really strong opener for this album. It was mainly about like sort of like a situationship type thing where it's like, well, do you think about me? Do you think about me and see me and like this and that? And like I was like, damn, who hurt you, Paul? John Lennon. People are saying that this song is about like Linda or his current wife. No, this song is about John. Are you stupid? This song is about John. All of these songs are about John. The fuck? Like these two, okay. So, and he has this little like monologue at the beginning where he's like, as I'm sitting and walking past your window every night, do you think of me? Do you see me? And I was like, shit, this is crazy. I hated the autotune. You would think that, you know, he knows how to make autotune sound good. Autotune on an aging voice is very obvious. I don't think he sound like the autotune ruined it. The autotune ruined this. Ugh. But it's a very like dramatic power rock song, and he's using his like Monkberry Moon Delight voice where he's like screaming and stuff. And the unfortunate thing is he's using his Monkberry Moon Delight voice in like most of these songs, because if he doesn't, then you can obviously tell that his voice is aging, which is kind of sad, you know. But I think he just needs to like accommodate his music to his voice rather than force it by like scream singing, you know, because the girl, she's 83. Like, give her a rest, Paul, please. I know John worked that thing, Paul, but give her a rest. Like, anyway. But overall, I did actually enjoy As You Lie There. There were certain points where I was like, ooh, the ending of that song, I was gagged, and I wish I saved the recording of it, or it like didn't corrupt or whatever, because I was proper gagged. by the ending of As You Lie There, genuinely. Lost Horizon, it was catchy but very generic. It was like upbeat rock. A lot of this album actually kind of reminded me of Cloud 9. Like, I feel like this is Paul's Cloud 9, except it doesn't have I Got My Mind Set on You in it. No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade, but this... No tea, no shade, but Boys of Dungeon Lane didn't have Got My Mind Set on You. Boys of Dungeon Lane did not have Fish on the Sand. But it also didn't have Shanghai Surprise, so at least it's got that going for him, you know? At least it didn't have Frozen Jap. Shit. So yeah. Lost Horizon, nothing to really write home about on that one. Days We Left Behind, that's the one that's like, he's been kind of pushing and has kind of been like the overarching, like, oh, this album is about his childhood and his rise to stardom and like his whatever. And I listened to this one beforehand, so I wasn't like blind reacting to it. I would say it's a very uniquely polished ballad, but also nothing particularly stood out to me. Something that did actually get me, I was like, am I gonna cry? I didn't really cry, but this song made me kind of emotional because he's using like his old guy voice. He's not using his Monkberry Moon Delight voice. He's using his 83-year-old man voice in this. But there are certain points where you can still hear his younger voice. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. But there are certain points in the song where you can kind of hear his younger voice creep through. And you're like, wow. So yeah. Ripples in a Pond. I liked this song as well. It's very like 80s pop rock, just like Lost Horizon. It's very dancey. I found it to be more catchy than Lost Horizon, so I liked it more than Lost Horizon. If I were to rank these, this would probably be in my top 5. The guitar solo on it was pretty mid. The bridge was corny. Again, me criticizing like the most influential man in music history, but like whatever. And it had a very weird ending. But overall, I did actually like the song. Mountaintop. This was a very like experimental song. It's kind of psychedelic. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It has more 80s pop rock, some electronic sound effects thrown in the mix. There was like a weird ghoulish part. Not sure how I felt about that. Towards like the middle of it, I was like, this song kind of sounds like the Apples in Stereo in a way. And the ending was very confusing to me. I was like, what the heck was this end? Like, I was like, the hell is this ending, bro? I was gagged by the ending, but not in the same way that As You Lie There gagged me. I wasn't a huge fan of that song. Down South. The autotune killed me, that song. And the song is so... again, I didn't really pay too much attention to the lyrics or writing, but this song is about John. This song is about John. So, shout out McLennan. For Pride Month, is he gonna confirm McLennan or not? That's what I'm wondering. Alright. Yes? No? You gonna confirm McLennan? Alright. But yeah, it's like it's a folksy kind of song about John. Next is We Too. This one I wrote down. It's a slower rock, and it sounded like a slower version of The Devil's Radio by George Harrison. And the drums sounded super mechanical on this. The kick sound was like in my ear. I was like, oh my god. Turn the drum down. It was like pissing me off low-key. And then there was like weird dial-up sound in the song. Then after hearing this song, I noticed how mechanical the drums sounded in like every single song. And it's kind of like, I feel like this album, like, and this is like my own personal preference, but this album was very like, some of the songs were like overproduced, if that makes sense. Like, some of these songs were overproduced and like too perfect. And the drums just sounded too mechanical, and I was like, ugh. Can we put a little reverb? Let's add a little reverb. Let's add a little room noise, maybe. Something. Um, Come Inside. This song was about John, cause shit. This song sounded like a Home Depot ad, and he used his Monkberry Moon Delight voice in this, and it was catchy, and I was bobbing my head along to it. Why are you bobbing your head like that? I was bobbing my head along to it, but yeah, it sounded like a Home Depot ad. Never Know was kind of like low-key a little country, a little rock, a little psychedelic, and I liked the flute instrumental part. That's what I wrote. Y'all listen to The Woman Who Was Also a Mongoose by the Dead Milkmen? Listen to that song. I like the flute on this track better, though, than the Dead Milkmen's part. Anyway, Home to Us. Home to Us, this was this was a standout to me. This was a standout of the album. Immediately, as I first started listening to it, I'm like, damn, this is Ringo Starr. Like, this is so Ringo Starr. And I didn't even read the fact that he was on it. And then I was like, when Ringo Suta started singing on this, I was like, that's my goat. That's my goat. And I wish that the footage of me reacting to it was still available. Because I when I heard it, I freaking 1,000-yard stared. I was like, Ringo better be on this. This is a Ringo Starr song. And then I heard his voice and I'm like, oh my God, Ringo's on this. So a very pleasant surprise, very cutesy song, very upbeat, nothing like freaking musical genius, but it's a very happy and cute song. It was an adorable, campy, happy, cute song. I really loved it. And I'm really happy that he featured Ringo on this album. If he didn't, that would be crazy. And after that, we have Life Can Be Hard. This was another big standout on the album for me. Because the thing is, for me, the album just feels super overproduced, but this song was very simplistic, and I really appreciated the simplicity of Life Can Be Hard. It's a classic Paul Grandma show tune, and it's just super romantic and cute. His voice, it sounded a little bit rough on it, but in general, I was like, yes, this is Paul classic campy show tune grandma music. And if he didn't have this type of song on the album, I'd be upset. I'd feel like, oh my God, he scammed us. So I'm glad he included this style of song on the album, because it really did define his song. It really does define him to an extent. He really he owns this genre. He's pulling this genre's hair back in doggy style, but he's giving it back. It's okay. Calm down. Next, First Star of the Night. This song was kind of boring. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I wasn't a huge fan of his voice on the song. I liked the acoustic guitar. If this album is about his past and his roots, I don't know why so much of it was 80s power rock, with electric guitar and all that, is all I'm saying. And another thing about Home to Us, the guitar solo on it was super George Harrison, which I appreciated, and I'm pretty sure they did on purpose, so thank you, Paul. But it was, acoustic. So First Star of the Night, it was more jazzy and relaxed, laid back. It was a good change of pace. So the pacing of this album made a lot of sense. There were never any points where I was like, oh my God. The only point where I kind of felt a little bit jarred was in between As You Lie There and Lost Horizon. I wish there was a little bit more room to breathe between those two songs. But overall, the actual pacing of this album is very good. I didn't really feel super bored or waiting for a song to be over or anything like that. I didn't really find myself feeling that way too much. So after First Star of the Night is Salesman Saint. This one, I also have kind of complicated feelings towards, namely in the instrumentals, and also throughout this album, not a lot of different instruments were used. The only band instruments It was very like, so I don't really know how I feel about that. I kind of like it when Paul brings in a big band, and this was like the only song where he did, so I kind of wished he used more big band stuff in his other songs. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense to use in his other songs. I don't know, maybe there was like an oboe and clarinet on Life Can Be Hard, which, again, was necessary. That oboe had to be there, / clarinet. I wasn't sure if it was an oboe or clarinet, but anyway. Salesman Saint, it's kind of confusing because it's like, okay, are you trying to do an Admiral Halsey thing or what? Because like there was just like a lot going on. It starts off with a kind of like military march beat with like a brass section at the beginning and like a snare. Then there's like, it transitions to like kind of sounding like When the Wind Is Blowing, which is another like older Paul song. So I was like, whoa, what's that? And then at the end, there's like this weird, not like kind of middle end, there's a call and response section with like a woodwind section, or like, I don't know if it's, I think it was mainly like woodwinds, like saxophones. So I was like, oh, what? That part really, I was like, whoa, what are we doing here? That part I was like, whoa, what are we doing here? Whoa. So there's that. And then the last song, Mama Gets By. This one I actually like sat down and looked at the lyrics, and it was a very weird choice for the last song in the album, and I'm not exactly sure how it fit in to the rest of his album, because it's like, well, are you talking about yourself, or are you talking about your own parents? Are you talking, because this song is about a woman with like a bum ass husband, but she loves him anyway. Is this about his own, like his mom literally died, so I don't think it's about his own parents. I think maybe it's about maybe like John and Cynthia through the eyes of Julian. Like that's the best guess I could give, because like if Paul's calling himself a deadbeat, that'd be crazy, because Paul was not. So yeah, it's ballady, uses some classical guitar. It kind of sounds like a film soundtrack. And I was like, okay, well, is this supposed to be romantic or what? I was just like very confused about that song, and I was like, why did he include that as the last song to wrap it up? I feel like he could have. I feel like Salesman Saint was a better wrap up, or whatever. And another thing is that I wasn't a huge, like, none of these songs, the ending, I was like, wow, that was a really good ending of the song, aside from As You Lie There, because As You Lie There, it kind of, As You Lie There always has you on the edge of your seat, and I like that about that song. And I think, whatever. So, cohesiveness, this album was very cohesive. It had, multiple different elements borrowed from multiple different genres and styles, while still, sounding like it came from the same guy. But is it anything to really write home about? Are there really any hits on it? I don't know. In my own free time, I'm probably going to re-listen to, like, I still need to let this marinate in my head and maybe, like, re-listen to it a couple times. Definitely, for sure, I really enjoy Home to Us. I really enjoy Life Can Be Hard. In a way, I kind of like Mama Gets By, even though it was kind of confusing. But yeah, it seems as though the actual, like, hits of this album are going to be Days We Left Behind and As You Lie There, because, like, again, the monologuing part of As You Lie There is so unique, at least to, like, Paul. Like, I don't think he really monologues in any of his other songs, to my knowledge. And maybe I need to, like, wait a couple years and, like, re-listen to this, but again, after first listen, I was like, I wasn't loving it, but I wasn't hating it. But so that's my general opinion. It's all right. So yeah.